So I want to bring in Mayor. You saw Cuomo last night, and what was amazing about him, the arguments these guys have against on the merits are so weak. He's saying, hey, the legislature passed it and the Supreme Court changed it, and, they had time to do it. They don't really ever get down to the substance. So I think the first question we have that I know our audience's heads are blowing up, and I tried to temper people yesterday by saying, hey, look, standing's going to be we had Ed Pasquale on, one of the top constitutional lawyers around, a guy in Florida that made sure that the vote down there went correct. He was in the Bush-Gore situation back in 2000, a warrior for Trump in 2016, was our guy that ran it down there and made sure we got a clear count of the vote and did such a great job this year. And he was trying to temper people, saying, hey, look, I think standing could be an issue and you may have to take other alternatives. So, Mayor, tee us up right now. You're not just the head guy that's coordinating all this. You're also the master strategist for President Trump. Where do we stand on Saturday morning, the 12th, when we're told by our bettors that the Electoral College is going to meet essentially on noon on Monday, and then it's game over? Rudy and Jenna Ellis and Boris can pack their tents up. Bernie Carrick can go back to wherever Bernie Carrick came from. The war room can start, railing on the CCP because this election is officially over on Monday. What say you, America's mayor?
We move immediately, seamlessly to Plan B, which is to bring lawsuits now in each one of the states. We had them ready. They're just a version of the one that was brought to the Supreme Court. So last night, the president made the decision that we're going to file in Pennsylvania. We're going to file in Michigan. We're going to file in Georgia. We already have a case in Wisconsin where we filed, or we're going to file in Nevada. Arizona, we have a case that's ongoing today. So we're going to go forward with those cases, incorporating the allegations in the Supreme Court complaint in those cases. So that the answer is, if you don't think we have standing, if the state doesn't have standing, surely the President of the United States has standing, and certainly the electors in the states have standing. So they will be bringing those very cases right in those courts, starting today. And let's see what excuse they can try to use to avoid having a hearing on that. The tragedy of this, Steve, is that they're using standing as a dodge to not have to face the facts. Nobody wants to face the reality that this election was stolen. And I'm almost getting this feeling, but I don't think it's going to happen. And we're going to have another Biden thing happen. 6 months from now, we're all going to find out how badly stolen this was. And we're going to have found out that it was covered up, just the way we're now finding out how deeply involved in crime the Biden family has been for 40 years, and how that was covered up for 3 years. And all of a sudden we find out after the election. I mean, this is outrageous what they're doing. And it should come out. The American people should have the benefit of hearing these facts. And then the court and the American people can make their decision. The facts have been kept from them. All these decisions, they say, all these court decisions, not a single court decision has had a hearing yet. They haven't heard from a single witness. They haven't looked at a single tape. They haven't listened to a single recording. There are thousands of them. They haven't even bothered to look at the tape in Atlanta, Georgia, which is dispositive. It shows an ongoing voter theft of 30,000 votes, enough to change the election. It's like a Pierce Brosnan movie of a bank heist. You just watch it, there's the crime.
Mayor, how are we going to, you've got, first off, there's suits all over the place right now. How are these going to coordinate? Now you're saying you're filing these suits. Are you incorporating some of the elements from these other suits out there? And how do you expect, what's your argument? Since I take it another set of plaintiffs are the electors of those states. So the electors and the president as the aggrieved party here, as the
Correct.
Candidate who got electoral votes. I think 232, I think, is the count that he's got already. You're saying, is that what gives you standing to go back to district court and start to argue this? That you believe that that's what will give you standing?
Well, sure. I mean, if he doesn't have standing, no one does. Then you can't sue for election fraud. Then the courts might as well announce we can do election fraud for the rest of our lives and nobody can ever sue. They've come pretty close to announcing that anyway. You can do anything you want. You can be on television stealing 30,000 votes right in front of our eyes, and the court's going to say you have no standing. Well, let's see if they're going to say to the president of the United States, you've been allegedly cheated out of an election, and you don't have a chance to make that allegation in court. We're not going to even allow you to make that allegation in court. Then we've basically ended a country with a court system. What do we have left? Basically,
at noon today,
we
I think
might as well litigate everything in the New York Times.
There was a 7-hour hearing yesterday, I think, at a district court in the state of Wisconsin, which I think is one of the strongest. This is the one Reince Priebus and these guys have put together. I believe
Yes.
they're at the Supreme Court starting at noon. The Supreme Court, it shows you the power. And look, as word gets out, the more, and two things. Number one, your roadshow going around from Gettysburg to Arizona to Lansing, Michigan to Atlanta, Georgia, your roadshow that went around and presented in 10 and 11-hour hearings sometimes, to get those, that was the beginning of breaking this dam, and you could see public opinion starting to shift. The more these go up to the courts, the more people get an inkling of the information. You can see with Cuomo. Cuomo's just putting out false information, right? I shouldn't say false information. He's not getting to the heart of really what the matter is. They're spinning it, right? So I don't say it's false. It's just they're presenting it in a certain way that looks like it's innocuous when, in fact, that's not the heart of the case. So you're winning by pushing these. But I think one of the questions our audience have, and remember, we consider ourselves the one of the voices of the Trump movement or the platforms for the Trump movement, is here you have our problem is in states with Republican legislatures, with many cases Republican executives. And if you look, even some of these courts have Republicans, and obviously the Supreme Court has an overwhelming majority, a 6-3 majority of conservatives and or people selected by Republican presidents. If you can't, if you can't get momentum or get traction there, is it because you just don't have the facts? What say you, Mayor?
Well, we have the facts. There's no question about it. They don't want to listen to the facts. We can't get beyond the first step of their saying we're going to have the patience to just sit there for one day and listen to the facts. That's what standing says. You don't get a chance to argue. You don't get a chance to present your case. You don't have the right to present your case. It says nothing about your case. It says you don't have the right to. Basically, the decision was that the state of Texas was not aggrieved, which I think is wrong. The state of Texas was aggrieved when another state acted illegally, therefore diminishing its vote. But the Supreme Court decided that they weren't aggrieved. Now, let them say that to the president of the United States. He is going to allege, let's just take Georgia, for example, that in the state of Georgia, we have evidence of a tape recording in which they counted 30,000 votes for Biden that were phony votes. It's on tape. It's right there to be seen. We can watch it in 1 hour and 10 minutes. And let's see if they'll watch it for 1 hour and 10 minutes. No court has bothered to do that yet. We have 100 witnesses in Georgia who will testify that they saw votes entered 18 times, 20 times. They saw Biden's name put in place of Trump. They saw people told to vote for Biden instead of Trump. They backdated documents. They're all willing to testify to this. Let them testify to it and then decide whether they're telling the truth or not. That's what America's about, not shutting them up.